Hi guys, good morning. And I don't know what part of the video this little part is going to be in. Um, my name is Shoya and my channel is Brace Women Empowerment. And thank you so much for being here. Right now, I just want to talk. I just wanted to share with you guys in the moment what I'm going through. I decided to just pick up my camera and just make a video. Because I'm dealing with something right now and I want to share it as it's actually happening. And so one of the things that we'll be discussing here is mental health, and how you notice the signs of mental health and how to maybe navigate some of the things that comes along with it. And when I say mental health, that's a very broad term. I'm not a clinician. I'm not a specialist or anything. So my channel is about educating yourself on things that have to do with positivity, mental clarity, happiness, just your overall self-development. That's what my channel is going to be all about. And so one of the things is that I want to share specifically, just to give you like a background of myself, who I am, what I do, everything like that. I just want you to know, first and foremost, like, I am the epitome of, what you call a go-getter, an ambitious person, all of that. And my situation is that I've raised my 2 children. I've been a single mom. I'm divorced, and I pretty much don't have a lot of support in terms of family and people that just support in general. When I say support, you know what I'm talking about. And that's with anything and everything, right? So it's within my family setting or whatever it is. I'm from a Caribbean household, and so there's this expectation that you need to be independent. You need to be, able to lean on yourself. And for whatever all the reasons are, which I won't get into now, I just don't have a lot of support. And in this moment, so let me just backtrack and explain what's happening today in this moment. I wanted to give you guys an overview of who I am and what I do. So currently I teach at an elementary school, and I'm a specials teacher. So that means that my classes, I have a very tight schedule. I have how many? 9 to 10 classes per day. 9 to 10 classes per day. And that's different teachers' classes. And they range from kindergarten through 5th grade. And the classes, the schedule is pretty compact. So the classes, there's not a lot of transition time in between classes. It's one class comes for 30 minutes. They line up, they leave. The next class is waiting at the door. So there's no wiggle room. There's no time to breathe. There is no time in between classes. Okay. That being said, you're dealing with children. You're dealing with personalities. You're dealing with behaviors. So when I said I was a teacher, that should have explained that, okay, you're dealing with all these things. So maybe you understand if you're a teacher, or someone who is a teacher, you already know. And if you're a parent and you have children, your child is coming to school. Some people, they always say, I couldn't be a teacher. I could not be a teacher, because they know what comes with being a teacher. And so I'm just sharing. This is just one teacher's experience. This is not This vlog is not about teachers or teaching as a profession, and it's not about the pros and cons or advantages and disadvantages of teaching. I just want to be clear about that. This is about my journey as it relates to my personal experiences, how I either deal with them, don't deal with them, how I either overcome certain things, or the struggle that I have. Then let me put it like that. Everybody's on a different path and a different journey. Everyone deals with situations differently. Me, personally, I'm an individual. Sometimes I deal with situations well. A lot of times my emotions are at times not where they're supposed to be. And so how do you improve that? How do I work on that? How do I take charge of my emotions? So this is what I'm here to really talk about. And this is the start of a new year. Incidentally, when I'm making this vlog, it's the start of a new year. And usually people make New Year's resolutions and things of that nature. This is not really about a resolution for me. This is just something that I realize that I need to take charge of. It's affecting my work. It's affecting my mood. It's affecting my emotions. All right. Naturally, I'm very bubbly. I am a very happy, go lucky, bubbly person. That's who I want to be. That's who I aspire to be 90% of the time, or 95% of the time, or 97% of the time. If you meet me for the first time, there's an energy that transfers, or I want to transfer. I want to be kind to people. I want to emit just this positive aura from myself. All right. So even if it's the first time that I am meeting someone, they should see something. They should feel something about me. And when I'm not in charge of my emotions, I feel like I'm not in control of that. I feel as though I cannot give 100%. And it looks completely different from the smiling, positive, warm person that I want to be, or that I aspire to be. All right. So what can it look like? It can look like, I don't know, mean. I can look like a mean person because of my emotions and because of my emotional state, and because I'm not always in control of my emotions. I am the person who's taking charge of my emotions. I should be taking charge of my emotions, but I have a problem in this specific thing that we're talking about. I have a problem here. I just realized that I have a problem. Like, I've acknowledged it this morning that I have a problem. Sometimes I don't acknowledge it, and I push it away. It comes, to the forefront of my mind. Why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling drained? Why am I feeling stressed? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I whatever? Why am I feeling tired? Why am I feeling groggy? Why am I snapping at people? And a lot of times, and sometimes I don't snap at anyone, but I feel it, right? And so as a teacher, this is my profession. What do you do? What do you do? Me personally, I tend to put a Band-Aid. And I think we do that in general. We tend to put a Band-Aid over things. And so, but sometimes a Band-Aid, you put it there, but the scar is so deep that you need more than a Band-Aid. You need treatment for this, because if you have a wound, if it's just a cut, you could put a Band-Aid over it. And what happens is, on the outside, you might not see that you had a cut there, but it doesn't mean that it's totally healed, right? So that's what goes on with the mental health and the emotions, the emotional state. So this morning, I am not teaching. I'm not teaching right now. I should be teaching. It is, the clock on the wall says, 10:50. All right. And normally this is my break time because I have like 30 minutes. I have 5 classes, then I get a break, and then I do 5 classes again until the end of the day. And a lot of times I would just say to myself, oh, this is a lot. This is a lot. Teaching is a lot. Teaching specials is a lot. It's a lot to handle. But me, I've been able to handle a lot in my lifetime, right? I've raised my children. I've gone to school at nights and worked. I've worked 2 jobs and gone to school. I have run the gamut of things that are difficult. You name it, I have done it. And so, but there have been times when I have felt overwhelmed. There have been times when I have been, feeling way too emotional to be at work. Because we all have emotions, but I don't know. Some of us are emotions. Some people are more in control of their emotions, or they don't have that problem that I have, right? Because sometimes I have been at work in the past, as a younger version of myself. When, I first started working in the call center, I was in the call center industry, and I used to be at work, and my job was to be on the phones, to talk to people. And I would have this anxiety of, I can't be here right now. I can't take the next call, and it gets you into this very worried state of, oh my God. And I panic because I get into this state where I am just like thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I am not able to take my next call. I'm not able to cope. And, I do this thing where I try to push through it. I try to go through the moment. And so I will end up taking the next call. Very well knowing, like the feeling will come on, and sometimes it's sudden, and sometimes it's been there lingering since that day. Like you'll just wake up and maybe one thing gets thrown off in your morning. Sometimes I might run late, or whatever the case might be. You're just not feeling it. You're not feeling yourself. But because you work for an employer, and not only because you work for an employer, but because you feel like, you have others depending on you. Like I have other people depending on me. And that's been the case for most of my adult life. I've had someone else depending on me. And so, and even for me, I have been depending on myself, right? As I said in the beginning part, in the first part of this, I did not have a lot of support. So that meant that I had to take care of myself. Before I turned 18, I was responsible for taking care of myself. I was responsible for taking care of my food. I was responsible for taking care of my housing. I was responsible for, everything that had to do with my livelihood. And so, and again, I'm not saying that I never had help. I had some help, especially in the early stages of my life. I had some help, whether it was one parent or a sibling or, boyfriend, whomever. But as time goes on and you get older, that support system tends to diminish as you get older, whether that's because, there's a fly flying around here. I'm so sorry. Ooh. I don't know. Hopefully it's gone. It's very distracting. So, But back to what I was saying, you tend to, that support system, diminishes, right? You lean on people less and less and less the older you get. And that's how it's supposed to be. And especially being from the Caribbean, that's how we are. When you have your kids, you're not expected, or not in my family anyway. I know families are different and the dynamic is different. I know people in their 50s who have their parent or parents, and they still have their support. They can come home from work and expect mom maybe help to make a meal, or mom is able to go grocery shopping while they're at work. And so they have some kind of support. Whereas with me, I need to go grocery shopping. I need to cook. I need to wash the dishes. I need to do this. I need to do that. It's me. Because I don't have my mom around me. I don't have my dad around me, right? My family dynamic is different. My family is split. This is not about my family, but I just want to share how it is for me personally, right? I don't want anybody coming for me. I don't want anybody saying, oh, but you went on camera saying this. This is not about my family. This is about me and my journey and my anxiety and how it is affecting me on my job, on my everyday, how my emotions get affected rather. And it stops me from doing my work. There are times when I can't cope. I can't make decisions. And it's simple decisions. There are times when I can't remember simple things. So like this morning, for example, I was on the phone speaking to the insurance people, and I had to make a phone call to get an appointment that I need to deal with this very thing that we're speaking about. And the lady was asking me for my address. I know my address. It's not something that I have to really think about. But for the life of me, I kept saying avenue on my address, and something in my head was going, that doesn't sound right. You don't live on an avenue. Do you live on an avenue? And it was just this thing of this question going back and forth in my mind. And as I'm on the phone with this lady, I'm like, wait, give me a second. I'm not sure. Is it street or is it avenue? And I had my purse right in my hand. And I was kind of rummaging through my purse, looking for something that had my address on it. And this is what I mean when I'm saying that whatever is going on with me, with my mental health, sometimes I'm not as clear as I need to be, or as sharp as I think I should be. I'm there, I'm looking through my purse, and I'm thinking to myself, like, it took me a few seconds of rummaging through my purse, looking at different cards, looking for my address so I could verify it to the lady on the phone. And of course, this is in the morning. I'm not a morning person. Not that much of a morning person. I'm drinking some tea. So, well, I was supposed to have my tea, and it's gonna get cold. So I'm sorry. I wanted to share with you guys and not lose my train of thought, but I just feel like I need to drink this tea so that it doesn't get too lukewarm. I mean, it's already like lukewarm. Yeah, so I'm drinking the tea because tea helps me. It helps to wake up the brain. It helps me. But it doesn't help if I have it in the cup and I don't drink it. And this morning was one of those mornings I just felt rushed. I just felt rushed to get out the door. I had my tea. I turned back several times. I had juice. I have these really super long days when that I work at the school. I do the after school. I teach in the evenings, and a part of me knows that I'm doing too much. But then a part of me is like, okay, I signed up for these 2 days. Like I had 3 days in the beginning, and now I told them I wasn't available for one of the days. So I reduced my days to 2 days. All right. And I don't know, I just still feel like I'm doing too much sometimes. And I don't know if other people can relate to what I'm going through. Like I've been in this mode of I don't want to do that. Teaching requires reading and making plans and waking up at a certain time and getting there at a certain time and making sure you have food and making sure you have water and making sure you have everything. Like this is things regular, normal folks have to do every day, and that's whether you work for yourself or not. And I'm telling you, it's not about my job. It's not about my profession. Because even if I'm at home, I have days when I don't want to do. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to make my own food. I know I need to eat to stay alive. I need to go in the kitchen and make something for myself. But there are days when I'll just get up and sit. And it's because mentally I am drained. I am not doing well. And it's very hard sometimes, depending on who your circle is, to talk to folks. And that's another thing. Like sometimes it's just me and my son, and I don't want to pour out, and sometimes I'm crying, so the long and short of it is I'm trying to get therapy, behavioral services. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm probably going to have to come out of pocket. But if something were wrong with another part of my anatomy, another part of me, I would try to fix it, So why not try to fix what's going on with me emotionally? I've been through a lot of trauma. My parents divorced when I was young. I moved around quite a bit. And then I went through more trauma, coming to live with with my dad and my stepmom. I went through more trauma. I went through more trauma being married. It is what it is. And it's trauma. Like when you emotionally, you make it through different situations, but it affects you and you don't know how to deal with it, or you never talk to anyone, or the people around you don't understand what happened, how that affected you, or how it's affecting you. And then you have other people relying on you. Like I have my children relying on me. And so you try to stay strong for everybody, and you try to put on a strong face for yourself, and you go to work. And now being a teacher, wow. And it's any profession, really. Even if you're in customer service, you're that face of the company. You can't go to work sulking, crying, dealing with your emotions. Customer comes up there in a bad mood, and now you're like, I'm in a bad mood too. I'm having a rough day too. So how can I help you? No, they're not. They're going to frown on that, right? And you're going to say to them, listen, hey, I need to take a break. And they're going to be like, no, we need you. We need you in the front. We need you to do X, Y, and Z. No, your break time is this time, and you're like, I can't cope. I can't deal with this. And so eventually things spiral. You leave that job. You don't work there anymore because, things happen. But never really getting to the root of the issue. And I know medical services are costly. All right? Medical services are costly. Let's just say it as what it is. Insurance, costly. Whether you're paying through your job, whether you're paying however you're paying, Usually there is a cost associated with health insurance. And so there are times when I forego having health insurance. There have been times when I haven't had a health insurance. And there have been times when I've had health insurance. I do have health insurance now. But what I find that always happens with me is I'm so busy. And, sometimes we don't take our own advice, because I'm that person. When I listen to older anybody, it doesn't matter, older, younger, I can hear what's going on with people. I can say, okay, that's called stress. That's not good. How about maybe you need to take a break? Maybe you need to cut yourself some slack. I can say all these things to people. But when it comes to me, I'm a workaholic. I'm working hard. I'm working harder than anybody. I have to prove myself 100 times more than anybody. I don't know why. I don't know what that is. And I come from corporate, right? I'm coming from working in corporate America. And one of my ambitions is just to climb the ladder of success. I want to get to the top. I want to be valued in a company where I work. I want to, I want to contribute. I want to have a valuable contribution. And you just feel like you have to work 10 times as hard as anybody else. Coming into this profession, and again, this is not about my profession necessarily or whatever. This is about my journey with mental health. So I keep going back and saying that. This is about my journey with mental health. All right? But all these things are underlying symptoms and underlying issues of the bigger picture, right? Because I've put so much pressure on myself to be professional, to be in a professional space. And it's not easy. It's there's a lot of expectations placed on you as a worker, as an employee. You have to show up at a certain time. You have to be there. You have to give 100%. You have to. And the have to's just never end. Okay? And so, but for me, there are times when I feel as though, all right, what option do I have? What is the alternative? Why can't I just be? Why can't I just be? Why do I have to be this professional? And why do I have to maintain this, right? Why can't I just take a break and just be okay with myself? I think it goes back to the expectations and the Caribbean households that you grow up in, that they put these expectations on you, where like going to school, it was like you're expected to go to school, you're expected to go to college, you're expected to become something. I whether a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a this, a that, or the other. And I don't know if that's where it came from. And this thing of not wanting to let your folks down, you don't want to let people down, you don't want to let them down, you don't want to let down your grandparents, you don't want to let down your family name. And so, excuse me, like I have stuff in my nasal passage. So if you hear me it's I don't know what it is, morning time thing. Oh, also because I was crying, I'm very nasally at the moment. Yeah, because I was actually crying. And I'm documenting these things because I just don't know. It's a real issue for me. It's a real issue for me. And I decided that I want to create some vlogs, and I want to document my journey with this thing. I want to educate people. I want to help someone who, is struggling